What is up, guys? I am Curbster, and welcome to my channel. Today, I have a huge news update for Anthem. This is given to us by Ben Irving, the lead producer, and Chad Robertson, the head of live services for Anthem. He basically, makes sure the game remains relevant over a long period of time. So, let's get started. First things first, we have a solid release time for the game. If you don't know, the game EA Origin Access and EA Premier Access on the PC, the release time is going to be February 15th, so in a couple of days. The time is 9 a.m. Central Time, so that's 10 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific Coast Time. So we have quite a few updates to talk about today. The first one being one that was a big complaint in the VIP demo and the open demo. They have confirmed that there is sprinting in Fort Tarsis. I saw this in the live stream, and you could see him walk much faster. I wouldn't say it was sprinting, it was more like a brisk walk, in my opinion. But it's way better than the slow pace the slow snail pace that was there before. The next thing I have for you guys, there's a few settings people wanted. One of the biggest ones that I can recall and I experienced personally was the camera shake when you were shooting your weapon. It would just, for some reason, just start rapidly shaking. What they did there was they inputted a slider scale from 0% to 100%. That kind of gives you control of how much camera shake there is in situations like that. Also, they added an HDR mode for the PC, and they also fixed the motion blur for the full release for the 15th. You can actually turn that off now instead of it just saying that it's off, but in reality it wasn't actually off. So another thing about the 22nd and the 15th update, this is specifically for the 22nd update, so the actual release of the game for all consoles and PC if you don't have the early access to the game. They did change the start expedition screen. I saw this in their interview live. What they did was they added the feature where you get to choose your choose your mission, essentially. So you could choose free play, you could choose your stronghold, or a mission. There's a couple other options that I missed that I didn't see. But you essentially choose what you want to do, and then it takes you to the screen you're familiar with where you choose your level of difficulty. Normal, easy, hard, or your Grandmaster levels. From there, they also added a new change to the compass. When I realized when you're fighting your enemies in the midst of a battle, it was hard to see where your enemies were. So what they did was they added little red arrows on your compass to sort of indicate the direction that you should be focusing on when in the middle of your battle. It looked really nice on the screen, so hopefully I think it's going to be way better than the way it was before with just the red ticks on there. And now it's actually a red tick when you're not facing them, or when you are facing them, sorry. And then when you're not facing the enemies, they're on the sides of the compass bar with a red arrow on their tick. So that should make fighting enemies and finding their location much better. Next thing, and this is a big one, they confirmed legendary blueprints. Yep, you heard me right. I said legendary blueprints. That's the highest tier armor and component and weapon rarities and ability rarity you can get. There are blueprints, but there's not blueprints for all of them. I'm guessing those weapons are going to drop with, you're going to have your awesome legendaries with the very specific inscription, right? And then you're going to have other legendaries that don't necessarily have that really awesome inscription. So I'm guessing those are going to be the ones that you can craft multiple times. You're just going to have the perk of it being a legendary, and you're going to have the higher gear score, and overall being more powerful because of that. He also said that blueprints were renamed to sigils. He didn't seem too certain about that, and he did say he would check and get back to us. But when he was in that item screen to craft material, to craft items and abilities, he did say that it did show on there that it was called sigils and not actually blueprints. Next is another big one. He did a really big. They did a big buff to the Colossus. Essentially, when you're first starting out as the Colossus, you feel really weak. I played as the Colossus for a while. There's actually gameplay going on in the background right now of me playing as the Colossus. So, but when you first start, you just feel underwhelmingly powerful, right? You don't have that much health. Your damage output isn't that great. Your shield seems just way too weak. So what they did was they did some balancing changes to the Colossus to where you start out in the beginning before you get your components. You do have increased health and you do have an increased shield. By how much, he didn't say, but any buff is better than no buff, right? And it's better than a nerf, obviously. Another thing that that they did to help quality of life within strongholds in particular, I don't know if you play the demos, but if you did, when you're in the stronghold, in the very first section, you had to gather these glowing orbs. They're called echoes. You have to grab those and then you put them in the round circle thing with the crystals, essentially. And some people were apparently being dicks, and they would just, grab the echoes and then leave the game. The echoes would disappear. They would not necessarily know that they have an echo on them. So that would slow progress. So what they did was they added a timer to the echoes. You now have 1 minute to turn the echo in. And then from there, if that 1 minute goes up, you'll get a visual cue. The echo will turn from yellow, a glowing yellow, to a glowing red. And then shortly after that, it'll disappear and respawn in another location. So again, to wrap it up, we have the official release time, the 15th. That's at 9 a.m. Central. So unfortunately, I don't know all the time zones around the world, so you might just have to do the math. They increased the sprint speed. And one more thing that I didn't say, there are reputation rewards. So as you start to level up your reputation with the different vendors in Tarsis, as you level them up, you'll get blueprints for items, weapons, abilities. You'll get materials, and you'll also unlock cosmetic items specific to those vendors. So different colors. Let's see, different materials for your armor. That's one more quality of life update, and gives you purpose to pursue those things. 15th is the early release. If you're on Xbox, you have 10 hours if you have early access, you have 10 hours to play, and that is game time. That is not 10 hours after the launch. So you do not have to rush, and potentially, if you're a casual player, you could probably span that out over the course of a week and not get bored, and you'll be ready to go for the full launch day. And that, I think, is all I have for you today. So if you would, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or just gripes with my overall being, please leave a comment down below, and I will try to write back to you. Again, I am Curbster, and I will see you on the flip side.
Take me away.